Luna, one of the most underexplored characters out of the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, and with the Light Duelist pack coming, that means some interesting things. You guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Ancient Fairy Dragon is one of the only monsters that has not received some sort of power-up, retrain. Yeah, I mean, we have Ancient Pixie Dragon, yes, but Luna has been the last one that has not really been explored all that much. Actually, Luna's character as a whole has been a pretty big, I'm going to say, like, disappointment. Let's jump on down here for a second. Look at the deck that we have here. Like, this is not much at all. And the deck has Ancient Fairy Dragon. And for Turbo Duels down here, I mean, like, look at this. Like, this is, oh boy, Ancient Fairy Dragon itself. There's not a lot of design room, really, for Luna. Like, you know, Ancient Forest was one of the biggest things that, you know, I remember seeing for this when we got Ancient Prophecy back in the day for Luna. But there's a lot to, I guess, be explored here. So we're going to go through Luna a little bit here. I want to talk about some of the cards that were kind of missing for Luna. I mean, once again, we're going to go back down here. Take a moment to process and look at this. Like, talk about an identity that doesn't really, you know, have much. And Ancient Forest was the thing that... This card's really cool. Your anime effect here, when you activate this card, change any defense position monster on the field to attack mode. Flip effects are not activated this time, and monsters cannot be normal summoned or special summoned in defense position, cannot be set or changed to defense mode, and a monster attacks to destroy during the end phase. This is like a simulated little floodgate, or is like an attempt at a floodgate, but nobody in their right mind is playing defensive. It's always attack mode, extend. Like, independent current modern era Yu-Gi-Oh is the scariest thing, because at least, you know, it negates everything in attack mode. So maybe if you were to toggle this up with that, but that's not actually going to happen. Nobody in their right mind is going to be like, oh, special summon in defense mode and end my turn. That's not modern era Yu-Gi-Oh. And unfortunately, Luna's cards kind of present a problem with some of that theory. You know what I mean? So let's jump on over here to some of Luna's cards. So for an example over here, Healing Wind. Gain 200 life points for each monster on the field. No additional effect. Now, if Konami was to make this into an actual card, they would very easily give this a clause somewhere along the way. It says, hey, gain 200 life points for each monster on the field, and then we can go ahead and maybe draw a card for, if we gain 2,000 life points, that would have to be 10 monsters on the field for that sort of effect. That would be just harsh. But that's within the realm of design space that, you know, we could see Konami do. But, like, this is also from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's episode 19. Alright, like, Luna's character just proves on how terribly explored it actually is out here. Now, we jump on over here. Fairy Breath. Okay, well, that's actually a pretty cool technique. This would be, this is on a counter trap, by the way. Wait a minute. On a counter trap? Yeah, you heard me say that. Activate only by selecting one face of monster on the field. While you control an Ancient Fairy Dragon, that monster gains 3,000 defense points until the end phase of this turn. In what world do we need to give a monster on the field 3,000 defense? Like, this is also on a counter trap card. I want to re-emphasize that. You activate by selecting one face of monster on the field while you control a face of Ancient Fairy Dragon. It gains 3,000 attack points. Now, what if this was negate that monster's effect and then give it 3,000 defense points? Now, that looks a little bit more inviting, in my personal opinion. You know, the ability to do that. But this is gaining 3,000 defense points on a counter trap card is so absurd. Like, it's not even funny. And then we have Oberon's Prank. Activate only when an effect monster that increases life points is activated. Negate that effect, and then both players take damage equal to the amount that would have been gained. Well, first of all, this is the most anti-Aromage card that ever did exist somewhere off in the Yu-Gi-Verse. Let's call it what it is, but we're not going to play this card. You know, there's no benefit to playing this. In the world of Ancient Dragon, all of Luna's cards are just kind of fuzzy little generic things that have some sort of poor script writing is what these feel like. Oh, my opponent activated Dying Keto. You know, oh, let's go ahead and negate that, and then we both lose 1,000 life points. Like, no, I don't think we will. And then we have Ancient Sunshine. Activate only if a face-up Regulus. Alright, only if you control a face-up Regulus. Remove from play one Ancient Fairy Dragon from your extra deck. And then inflict 2,100 damage to your opponent. Then you can destroy all cards you control. You cannot attack the turn you activate this card. Well, that's actually fine. Alright, but you have to get a Regulus on the field in order to kind of capitalize on this thing. And for those of you that don't know, Regulus is this: once per turn, you can select a field spell in your graveyard and return it to your deck. Now, a Regulus retrain is not necessarily out of the equation here, you know. Much like Yugi's cards, if we can dedicate archetypal slots or create archetypes around things that normally didn't have access to things like this, then that's 100% possible, you know. But Regulus itself doesn't really have an identity other than, hey, you can pop an Ancient Fairy Dragon out of your extra deck and, you know, get a free board wipe, which is kind of cool. I like the way that these two cards made an attempt to try to work with each other, you know, like that was actually pretty good. Now, we also had Twinkle Wall. Now you're like, wait, what the heck is this? Activate only when your opponent's monster declares an attack. Negate that attack. Oh boy, it's another attack negator. Then take damage equal to half the attack of the monster whose attack was negated. Your opponent cannot activate spell and trap cards until the end phase. Now, hold up here. This is a monster negate, or an attack negate, that forces you to take damage equal to half the attack that monster had on the field, and then it basically sets you up to just make it so your opponent can't activate spells and traps until the end of the turn. This feels terrible, actually. Like, if we're going to retrain something, this needs to be way, way better. And then we have Syn Ro Monument. Now, this is actually kind of a cool card. I also really like the art on this thing. So when a tuner monster is summoned, or a synchro monster synchro summon, the summoning player's opponent cannot activate any cards. Now, I can get behind this. You know, making sure that your opponent can't typically respond to some sort of summon typically can be good. Now, I mean, back row effects, things like that, sure, you know, some sort of counter trap card could ruin your day, but this at least makes sure that, you know, whatever monster you're touching down out here should be able to stick around. So you see my problem with Luna's cards here? They don't really have an identity. And Ancient Fairy Dragon itself from the anime, once per turn you can special summon a level 4 from the hand. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate that effect. And then once per turn we can pop a field spell, gain 1,000 life points, and then we can add a field spell from our deck to our hand. Like this card, like obviously the TCG version has the errata, but it's a free extender onto the field. Now typically, if we do get a retrain of this, you could just use the effect of Ancient Fairy Dragon, special summon the tuner from your hand, and, well, you could be able to use this form to tune on up into the new one. But then you ask yourself, okay, so what do we do with this? Obviously, it has to have more stars. It has to be upgradable. And it's probably also going to have to do with field spells. We could make it so that you can remove field spells from the graveyard to gain some sort of effect. From where I'm sitting right now, it's very possible that we get these cards for the chance to have an identity of their own. But for now, with the Duelist pack being announced, I do highly think that Luna should be on the list of things to get power-ups finally. So what do you think? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.